Good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mavita Sibidi. In our first story, government says an interministerial committee has been formed to find ways to deal with the many road crashes in the country. Despite ongoing campaigns to get motorists to be more diligent on the road, the number of fatalities and injuries is not declining. Speaking at the National Police Command Conference, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry said government is also committed to ensuring that the many unresolved murder cases in the country are investigated and prosecuted.
His Excellency the President has actually formed an interministerial committee, which I'm privileged to chair, involving ministers of roads and highways, Minister of Transport, Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Minister of Finance recently, and we're going to have the Minister of Information join us. We are taking it very, very seriously. We are going to have digitalization to help us deal with it, but you will soon realize that there's an increase, patrol of these offenses. There are certain areas that the roads are bad and notorious for accidents. We're going to find out what it is, and that's why it's a multi-sectoral, multi-ministerial matter. I want to assure you that the position of the government has been and remains, as I talk to you today, that all outstanding murder cases be investigated, completed, and prosecution undertaken. And I tell you with all seriousness, because I do ask the Director General to give me, of CID, to give me a report every week, and he does. Yes, not all cases are going to be completed within the short period of time that we expect. And you realize that the two cases that we think have not yet been sorted out, which has to do with the Soli murder, which we are following, and then also the recent alleged violence by security agencies is being investigated. Our own JB Dankwa's murder, you do realize, has taken a number of years to resolve. Those are things that you will find when you are dealing with criminals. But one thing I want to assure all of you, government is committed to investigating every criminal offense to its logical conclusion. And take it from me, we cannot be influenced one way or the other by whoever is involved.
In terms of road accidents, you mentioned it's become a big problem. People are dying. There's a road carnage issue. Is this becoming a big national security issue for government?
It is.
Region, striking members of the Association of Senior Staff in Public Universities say they remain unfazed despite assurances by government to address their concerns. Ministers of Labour, Employment, Education and Fair Wages and Salary Commission representing the government met leadership of the association with a promise to further negotiate with the group. But leadership of the association insists this cannot compel them to rescind their decision. Himantera has more in the following report.
Senior staff, senior staff, senior staff. The time is now.
Over 6,000 members of the association in 10 public universities laid down their tools Wednesday in protest over poor working conditions and failure of government to pay accrued pensions. But despite government's assurance of further negotiations after a meeting on Wednesday, the association insists it will remain on strike. George Anson is president of the KNUST branch.
We were invited to meet the Minister of Education on Tuesday. And then the next day we met the Minister of Education, Labour, GTech Director, representative from Controller Accountant General. But the discussion doesn't necessitate us to call off the strike. So the strike is still on until our demands are met.
Meanwhile, the association has been compelling its members to comply with the strike. A task force formed to enforce compliance has been moving from office to office. Majority of members were found to have vacated their post. However, Some recalcitrant members who were found on duty in defiance of the strike were sent packing by the task force.
We are all doing it to benefit all of us. And you, the one we are fighting on our behalf, you are sitting here working. So you are betraying us.
George Anson is happy at the level of compliance.
I must give my members about 99.8%. But there are just some few of them who maybe I don't know whether they didn't hear of the strike or something. And because of that, we are doing a mop-up to go around, to drive all of them. So we are fully satisfied. And we've seen the impact. Our bosses have been calling us, some are pleading and other things. But we stand resolute until our demands are met.
The action, which entered its second day Thursday, is already having a toll on academic work. Some students of KNUST shared their frustrations with JoyNews.
I doing some analysis that involve heavy metal analysis, so I went to the Department of Chemistry to consult their laboratory as to whether they are able to carry on the analysis, and I learned that the demonstrators were on strike, so it was impossible. As a result, I couldn't be able to carry out the analysis. It's something that is hindering the progress of my work. Time constraint could be one of the factors that comes into play, because it's possible that I might not be able to complete my research on time.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Ohimintiria reporting.
Patients who required lab tests were left stranded at the Komfanachi Teaching Hospital at the start of a sit-down strike by laboratory scientists there. The health professionals are protesting the appointment of 2 medical doctors to the Laboratory Services Directorate. Many patients who needed lab services were helpless, with some seeking services outside the hospital. Hemiteria again.
The over 300 medical laboratory scientists are not happy with the decision by managers to post 2 medical officers to the directorate. They insist the appointment of the 2 is intended to sideline its members qualified for the position. Members say they will continue to withdraw their services until the decision is reversed. Some of them were seen idling about in the presence of their disappointed patients.
Since they are saying they are going on strike, it means you have to wait till they resume, so that if you're able to get our results, you can send it to our respective doctors who are supposed to take care of us.
Many patients seeking laboratory services were left stranded. The laboratory scientists, laboratory technicians and laboratory assistants, however, say they are concerned about the impact of the strike. Ernest Bedu-Boatin is chairman of the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital branch of the association.
I'm not a happy man, because if I am happy with what is happening, probably this strike would have happened 2 years ago. We are not happy because we decided to dialogue for good 2 years, but management, the ministry did not heed to our call. That's what has brought us to this stage today. So it's an unfortunate situation, yes, but we pray that even as the strike is in its early hours, the authorities, the ministry will come in and resolve matters for us so we can quickly resume work and stop this needless inconvenience and needless patients going around searching for a place to do lab tests. All these things will be brought to a halt if management and the ministry could act on this matter and resolve this matter holistically.
Mr. Bedu-Boatin blames management of CAT for the outcome of the impasse. According to him, management downplayed the threat from the association.
We are always seen as the weaker point or the underdogs, because laboratory has always been seen as a place where doctors can easily colonize. And so when we back, it's like we are treated with disdain. We are treated as if we can't act on the issues that we have raised. So based on that, we also have to show management that yes, we don't just talk in vacuum, but we are ready and we are resolute.
Meanwhile, authorities at CAT say the hospital is reeling under the impact of the strike. Public Relations Officer Kwame Frimpong speaks measures to mitigate the impact.
Definitely, if you have your in-house medical laboratory scientists going on strike, definitely will be affected. And if even you put in alternative measures like we are doing, it will not be as rapid and as effective as if you have your in-house team working 24/7 as they used to be. But this is a crisis, and we are doing everything to mitigate the impact. There are some contingency measures to provide some level of laboratory services for our patients. Enough arrangements are being made, and it is hoped that very soon the hospital will be able to serve the numerous patients who come here as far as laboratory services are concerned. In fact, arrangements have already commenced, and we are in touch with some partners, including hospitals and private laboratory service providers in the city, so that we can put in a system that will ensure that samples that are collected at a hospital are processed by these partners.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohiminteria reporting.
In the Volta region, the Forestry Commission is asking for support from stakeholders towards achieving targets for the Greening Ghana project. The Commission is preparing to plant and nurture 5 million trees across the country under the project, which aims at restoring the country's vegetation. About 200,000 trees will be planted in the Volta region as part of the project initiated by the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, John Alute, led a team to inspect preparations in the region ahead of the commencement of the Greening Ghana project. The team paid courtesy calls on the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, Asogli Traditional Council, and the Ketu South Municipal Chief Executive, Elliot Agbenewu, to seek their support towards the execution of the project.
The ministry, through the Forestry Commission, is making seedlings available for planting on that day. We have contacted identifiable groups, and then the chiefs, and then the regional ministers, district chief executives, and then religious groups and other organizations to provide some land banks as well, so that we'll plant in those land banks, and then people will also plant in their homes. We'll be planting trees that will beautify the environment, as well as the economic trees. The aim is to plant about 1 million of the fruit trees, and then plant about 4 million of the normal timber trees.
It's important to protect the environment by planting trees. I mean, trees play a very important role in the sustenance of life, and therefore we have the obligation to do so. So on behalf of the Volta Regional Community Council, on behalf of the chiefs and people of the Volta region, I want to pledge our maximum support to make sure that our target of 200,000 trees being planted on 11th of June will be exceeded. We've heard of these climate change and other issues. We've heard of the illegal exploitation of our natural resources, and it's our responsibility that even as we exploit our timber resources for development, they are replaced.
The Asogli Traditional Council also assured of its commitment to the success of the project.
In Ghana, we have a serious problem. Anything we want to do, we politicize it. Because if Ojoku is trying to do it, Kwame will not assist. So if you really mean that is going to be non-political, then we believe we shall all succeed. And we, the people of Asogli State, we promise and assure you that we will do our best to assist in this big planting.
Mr. Alute and his team visited the Commission's nascent sites in Ho, Toko, Denu, and Sogakope, where about 150 seedlings are being nursed. The seedlings include fruit trees, acacia, afram, and mahogany. A land bank area measuring about 1 hectare in Apalavi has been acquired, while plans are far advanced for land banks in other parts of the region to be acquired for the project. Mr. Alute implored citizens to fully participate in the strategic and aggressive afforestation project. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
You know, I'm gonna flat you out, right?
Is he issuing a challenge already?
No, it's more like a beat down. You know what it is? You know what time it is?
Like,
no, you know I am not Winston Amwa, right? You see, all of those who went to Mauli Senior High School, you know, when you go to Bishop Herman Senior, in fact, we're a college. Let me not even do senior high school. You know what time it is.
Wow.
You're in shock.
People have a lot to say this morning, don't they?
Yeah, we do.
I see.
I woke up hyper.
I can tell. And you're clearly not calming down, are you?
No,
okay.
I'll calm down after 9 o'clock.
I see.
But let's do this. Let's get into the
that,
papers.
Benjamin.
I have the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Guide, the Ghanaian Publisher, Weekend Today, and the BNFT. What do you have?
Okay, I have the Daily Statesman, the Daily Dispatch, the Daily Graphic, the Finder, the Custodian, and the Republic Press.
You have all these, the dailies, right?
Yes, I do.
Daily this, daily that, daily
Oh,
that.
you intentionally did that, didn't you?
I didn't, actually.
Coincidence then.
Okay, so let's start with, which paper do you want to start
The Daily Statesman?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so the Kofanat Teaching Hospital.
Towo.
I stick my, okay.
Can you repeat that?
Mamin starts to be rewind. Okay.
Go faster, man.
Comfort, I'm not, let me just say CAF. Aggrieved lab workers embark on sit-down strike. That story is on page 3 of the Daily Statesman. DBG to pump $1 billion into the economy, the finance minister has revealed. MPP's industrial agenda is on course. Bawumia commissions pineapple factory at Insawam. That's interesting. 2020 election credible. Political parties hail EC. It's interesting which political parties are hailing the EC. It does say political parties in Ghana have almost unanimously. What English term would you use to describe that phrase? Because unanimously, by the meaning of the word, means everyone.
Yes.
But then there's the word almost in front of the unanimous, which supposes that it's actually not unanimous.
You know, I'd rather like to express it in football.
Okay.
It left small.
Where you go make unanimous. Okay.
You know, I was interested yesterday when the NDC was talking about the sort of parties, some of them in there. I mean, every party is a party, but the way the NDC put it, like some of those saying, contributing to this unanimous, you know, but of course, that's the NDC.
Maintain that, almost unanimous. It's a very, very distant. Fantastic. Let me see if there's anything interesting on that. Oh, okay.
So it's finally coming.
If there was anything interesting on the back page of the Daily Statesman, and there is a topless Anthony Joshua.
You had to stress that he was topless.
Of course, otherwise
you have a crush on the guy?
Otherwise, it wouldn't be interesting.
You have a crush
Anthony
on the guy?
Joshua, I'm going to pretend like I can't hear you. Anthony Joshua to Tyson Fury, you've let boxing down, you lied to fans. Drama. I mean, they've had a whole stadium built for them for the match that is coming up in a couple of months. So that's pretty exciting for boxing fans if you're looking forward to that match.
Tyson Fury himself has been announcing that the thing is going to come off. And now,
Charlie, I'm looking forward to it, but not for boxing reasons, as you may have surmised. Manchester City's Ruben Dias named Football Writers Association Men's Footballer of the Year. And we know that next weekend, it's a big weekend because there's a lot of final matches as well. So big weekend for football. That's it for the Daily Statesman. If there's anything interesting, I will come back to it and let you know.
I'm sure you'll be coming back to Anthony Joshua's topless body. Ghanaian Times newspaper will crack all murder cases. That's according to the Interior Minister. He's been speaking on that. And Mr. Ambrose Derry has assured that all cases such as the murder of Ahmed Swale, an investigative journalist, alleged violence by security agencies being investigated, among others, he mentions J.B. Dankwedu, will actually be investigated. If you look at the timelines, it's been quite a while since the murders of some of these people, and we're still in some sort of limbo. But he's been making promises at that, high-power gathering. The IGP, Mr. James Opombueno, stated that Ghana had been and continued to be a peaceful country. So that's it. There's also Sanitation Minister inaugurates €20 million Kumasi wastewater treatment plant. And then Agbogloshi, onion sellers ordered to move to Ajen Kotoku market by July the 1st. Onion sellers, Jene, Sabulai. Sabolai. The Sabolai people say it's in. Maybe I'll get into that story. DBG to inject $1 billion into economy in 5 years. And we have CBG. Now we're going to have the DBG, Development Bank Ghana. I'll be giving you some details from that. When you go to... So maybe just wrapping up with this one for now. COVID-19 vaccinations, few challenges recorded on day 2. And there's a lot to talk about day 2. But
have you done your second shot?
When did you get yours?
2 days ago, I think.
Wasn't it yesterday?
Friday. No, it wasn't yesterday. Was
Wednesday?
it yesterday? It was Wednesday.
It was Wednesday?
It was Wednesday, yes.
I got my shot on Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
Now here's the weird thing. The first time I took the shot, well, the first jab, it worked me over a bit. So first day I didn't feel anything. Second day I started getting a bit woozy, headaches, and the headaches just went into days and all of that, and severe pain in the arm. I don't know whether it's the vaccine making me hyper, because I'm not getting any of that, but I feel all rather energetic.
Okay.
You know, yeah. So this Friday is going down on the show.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But how are you feeling?
I was okay. I was a little tired after the vaccine. And there was a bit of a miracle because I lost my appetite.
Oh.
Yes.
I think I've suffered a bit of that too.
Yes.
My appetite has plummeted a bit.
Yes, but my appetite never plummets. So
that must mean something
plummeting appetite was a plummet. Yeah, but otherwise I've been fine, surprisingly, because after the first one I was also, hit pretty hard. So
okay. I did say I was rapping, but on page 4, ECG to undertake 16-day load shedding.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Are you affected?
I don't see.
I am.
I don't see Kokomlemle in there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what that means. If maybe where we've been grouped under Nima, or we've been put under Newtown. I'm not sure, but I'm sure when the lights start to go off, I will know.
So you wrap up on that.
No, I'm just saying, but we will. If you want to know, Daily Graphic page 15, the timetable is in there. You can figure out where you are. Yeah. What did you want to say about it, though?
I screenshot something from yesterday. I'm just trying to find it.
What's the past tense of screenshot? Is it screenshot or screenshotted?
Screenshot.
So screenshot. I screenshot is the past tense of screenshot.
Some of those funny words in English
don't really
where
have past
you
tenses.
don't really...
Yeah. So, okay.
Some of them are a bit weird.
Yeah.
But they are what they are.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you'd see people slipping. But this one, ECG Ghana at ECG Official on Twitter. This is not the official page. This is the parody page.
Okay.
So they put there was no electricity in Nkrofo when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was born, but he went on to become the greatest man on this land. You don't need light to be great.
To be great,
you know the response?
No.
A certain Dr. Kwame Nkrumah on Twitter comes to say, hey, don't be saying certain things you don't know. Never use my name in this Dumso saga.
That's very funny. It's amazing the things we have time for.
I hear there's a Champions League, so I think I'm in the group of death.
Oh,
when it comes let me see. My group is somewhere in...
You would be Group C if your lights are off on 29th May, which is when there's the football.
I am in... How come I'm not seeing my group anymore? I think I'm in Group B. I should be in Group B somewhere, because I checked it out yesterday, and it looked like it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to be in Group B.
Okay.
And,
well, if you
yes, I am in Group B.
Okay, if you want to know what group you're in, just buy the Daily Graphic, page 15, and you can find, where you are, and then you know when your lights will go off. Or don't buy it, and you'll be there, and then your lights will go off.
Someone was asking me on social media yesterday, how about the time? And I was like,
I think it's 6 p.m. to midnight. That's what they've said. Yeah, so it's only peak load hours, 9. So it's 6 p.m. to midnight. That's what's been advertised. So
I hope they stick to it.
If you're lucky. Anyway, let me do the front page of the Daily Graphic. Development Bank opens in July with an initial $500 million capital. We heard about that yesterday. Jospon commissions 20 million euro compost recycling. Hey, this morning there. Recycling plant in Kumasi. Parties endorse new voting time. NDC against polls closing at 3 p.m. That's quite a major conversation, polls closing at 3 p.m. We've kind of struggled with the lines and everything just working efficiently. So not too sure about how that's going to work. Center spread, let's embrace our cultural identity for accelerated development. the thing about our cultural identity, which I've struggled with over the years, is that as the years have gone by, we've picked our identity from so many different places that sometimes it's become a little bit difficult to know what is truly ours and what isn't.
You know, when you started, I was about to ask, what is our cultural identity?
And
anyway?
we've also, as we've evolved, not known what to let go of and you know, how to kind of evolve in a way that has been helpful, I think. So when I see headlines like this, it's a bit worrying for me because I want more details and I want to know that we're growing in the right direction and in a way that we can compete globally. I worry about my children when we talk about things like cultural identity, because there are a lot of things that our children are being taught in terms of cultural identity that I feel puts them at a disadvantage in life.
That you think is alien to us, or you think is just it's not caught up with modern times? What do you mean?
I think, okay, so for example, I was looking in the curriculum for my son, he's 9, and they do religious and moral education, for example, and I was looking in his notebook, and he goes to, he doesn't go to like an international school, so he goes to a regular school, so GES. And there was the functions of a father, functions of a mother, you know, functions of all of that. And, you know, underneath the functions of the father, I can see my boss looking at me and I refuse to be intimidated. Functions of a father as he walks out of the studio. Good morning, Mr. Elvis Kwashi, nice to see you. Underneath functions of a father, you know, goes out to work, you know, watches over the family, you know, plays with the children on the weekends and stuff like that. Underneath the functions of the mother was cooks for the family, stays home.
So your typical stereotypes.
You know, so your typical stereotypes, you know, but is that our cultural identity? Because, and we're saying let's embrace that, you know, but what does that mean?
But of course, in this context, to be fair, even if you read the caption, the poverty in Africa, that quote from him, the poverty in Africa is not the poverty of wealth or property, but rather the poverty of the mind. So it's a hodgepodge of issues.
So yeah, well, exactly, poverty of the mind.
But I do agree with you on the standpoint of what our cultural identity is. Look, I always say that people often confuse it and say, well, the United States, they don't really have culture. At least they have some things they focus on. They talk about the American dream. It has a significance. They talk about, you know, their capitalism and all of that. They have certain things they focus on. Here, we're all over the place.
Most important.
And now, especially with all of these movies that have come from all over the place, and
the soap operas and stuff, yeah.
Remember back then, at least you would have a chiche kule, you would have a by the fireside, you would have certain things that would reverberate
certain
with
values.
You can actually attach yourself to it.
Well, but that would also teach certain values.
Yes, but now
we're not actually teaching values.
What do your kids have?
They have things that I'd rather not talk about and that I wish they wouldn't watch. But also, we don't have, a lot of our systems don't teach us to think. And that's something that really worries me. We're not really taught to think. We're not really rewarded.
You learn by rote, baba.
Exactly. We're not really rewarded for thinking. And I think that is the real poverty of our minds here in Africa. For example, you know, it's interesting that apparently there was this meeting of African leaders when COVID-19 started, you know, and at this meeting, the African leaders, you know, had this discussion about, okay, you know, how are we going to, you know, raise funds at some point, you know, to be able to get the vaccine and all of that. But nobody at that meeting actually raised the issue of, okay, how are we going to, at some point, raise funds to make the vaccine or put money together. And we still don't have a vaccine for malaria. And yet Africa is the hardest hit by malaria. You know, so this is the poverty of the mind that I'm talking about. Anyway, let me not get stuck on this. So moving on, Education Ministry and Huawei sign MOU to offer training in ICT. That's interesting. NAT asked to review Teachers Fund for better retirement package. On the back page, Nano Food bounces back. So Nano Foods is a revitalized food processing company in Sawam, has been inaugurated with a call on Ghanaians to explore all opportunities in the traditional sector of the economy to accelerate the national economic transformational agenda. The project is under the 1D 1F program and brings to 77 the number of factories in operation since the inception of the initiative in 2017. And you can see cut pineapples on the table, and we're supposed to be excited about this in 2021. This is where we are. Okay.
Okay, you're obviously unexcited. I'm not either. Let's look at the Daily Guide newspaper now. Some stories already mentioned, so I'll not get to them. But Nana grabs a UCC doctorate over free SHS. Hey, Doctor.
Brad Doctor.
Brad Doctor Kufuado.
Yeah, man.
Brad Doctor Showboy. So, right now, levels don't change. At least, this is not the same as, what's his name? Sonny Baduzo.
Behave yourself.
At least.
Behave yourself.
Court dissolves Eugene Ahin marriage with 100,000 Ghana cedis. You see, I can't skip this one. And the court, the Divorce and Matrimonial Court, so that is the High Court in Accra, has dissolved the marriage between Director of Communications at the Presidency, Eugene Ahin, and his estranged wife, Gloria Asan. The court, presided over by Justice Cecilia Donchebe Agbeve, held on April 28, 2021, that Gloria Asan, who filed the petition for divorce, failed to prove allegations of adultery she leveled against Mr. Ahen. The judge cited the case of Zabrama versus Segbeji, a case I'm familiar with, where the Court of Appeal, Pega J.A., held that a person who makes an averment or assertion which is denied by his opponent has the burden to establish that his averment or assertion is true, and he does not discharge this burden unless he leads admissible and credible evidence from which the fact or facts he asserts can properly and safely be inferred. So in a nutshell, Agronegu.
Because they are kind in high and version, why.
You see, we have to,
like you like that too much.
We have to expatiate.
Oh, Jai. You could have just said Aegu.
It's like saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yo, you could have just said.
And all you mean is super.
Oh, you could have just said that thing is false. Like what is that?
But
anyway,
this bit though, I mean,
are you going to do it in big English or not?
It has a background.
Oh, I'm going to do it in
we've
big
come.
English.
Oh no! We've come to this point. What is your take on this bit now that we're talking?
Which bit?
About you heard what she came out with some time back about.
You know, this story has been interesting because the way it started, and then in the middle there was something which we didn't understand.
They patched up all of a sudden.
No, do you remember? Yes, that's the something that I'm talking about. Then the thing changed. The demands there was something that. So
you think they've agreed?
We don't know.
To some mutual.
We don't know.
Had some mutual
but something happened, and then it's and then it came to this. But all we have to say is that in the first place, all we have to say is that look, this is their personal business.
Oh yeah.
Their like children.
Bill and Melinda.
Yeah, their children involved. So I'm happy that it's ended, and I hope that both of them can move on with their lives.
You're happy it's ended?
I mean, like the story, the drama, all of that. I'm happy that it's over for them, for the children. Look, divorce is difficult. Divorce is painful. The only thing that is a thing with this thing, and that has brought up questions, again, is accountability of public officials. That's the one issue that has stood out in the minds of everybody, is how public officials...
So the things she put out before about what supposedly Eugene had and all of that. What happens to all of that?
That's what I'm saying.
Do we delve into it? Do we shelve it?
I mean, you hope that, somebody that has, the mandate to investigate will take it up and say that, okay, in the past 5 years that, you've gone from,
somebody like the AG, special prosecutor,
exactly.
We don't have one yet.
Exactly.
Like the new one.
Exactly. We'll take it up and say you've gone from, being this person in 5 years, you've amassed this amount of, that's the thing that matters. This is their private business, their marriage, their divorce, and that's their private business. But accountability from public officials, and the declaration of wealth acquisition, that's what matters to me with this.
Okay.
So that's, apart from that,
Well, the court has also ordered Mr. Ahin to pay to the woman
6,000 cedis.
Settlement of 100,000.
Thank you, and 6,000 cedis a month. It's not a bad deal.
When you go to the entertainment page, Kwame MP is saying I should have been closer to my father. That's the story. There was something else I saw. Okay, so this one, police probes murder case at Obuasi, and one Bona supposedly hung himself. You know of that SHS girl who recently supposedly hung herself, and her family is claiming that. Yeah, her family is claiming that it wasn't, suicide and all of that. But it appears we're seeing a string of these. The other day, yesterday actually, we were talking about depression and how real it is and how sometimes we just pretend
I got
isn't
so
there.
upset yesterday on the Super Morning Show when I talked about this because
depression?
Yes, about suicide and depression, because I looked at the social media comments that had come on the back of Letitia's story. Now, let's presuppose that it is a suicide because the police haven't come out with their officials. Like, the autopsy is not done, so we don't know whether it was a murder or a suicide. So the story that came out initially is that it was a suicide. The comments that came from social media was terrible.
That is problematic. A lot of people arrive at conclusions. I mean, you don't know anything.
No, it's not even the conclusions. It was the God will punish you. You know, I will come and beat you. God will punish you and your family. What at all do you think you are going through that you have to kill yourself instead of you to be learning, you know, that kind of thing. Then there was one comment that said, and then the mental health people will come and tell us it's depression.
Okay, so trivializing the fact that people even go through such things.
And the thing is, this is the kind of narrative that continues to downplay mental health in Ghana and in Africa. And yet, I was reading that the World Health Organization says the third leading cause of death for 15 to 19-year-olds across the world is suicide.
It's suicide.
I have
claims 800,000 lives every year.
I have a 12-year-old daughter, Benjamin, and 2 weeks ago we were having a conversation about, she's writing BC next year, about the stress that she's feeling about writing her exam and the pressure that she feels from her friends. She's just switched schools, about being accepted, and you know how she feels about her teachers. She had a 15-minute conversation of just letting out her emotions, and it was so heavy. And I thought, if I was not there for her to release this on me, and she was carrying this for 2 years, she's not equipped to deal with that kind of burden. I am equipped to deal with it because I am her mother and I have life experience. So if 2 years from now, she's sitting somewhere and she is depressed, how dare someone come and judge her? Do you know what I mean? But we completely trivialize the fact that our children are facing a life they know nothing about. And sometimes we as parents fail them because we think they're children and they don't have problems.
You know, and that's a point that Seth Asafo, a clinical psychologist,
I met him last week as well,
yesterday. You know, the youth of today, let's face it, they are not going through some of the things we went through growing up. Their experiences are very different. And if you just think that, oh, when we were 10, we could go through this. Why are you 15? And no, that's not how it works. So if you, especially if you're a parent and you don't look at those signs. We had a call from someone from Y yesterday. He's called Mike. I think he just got into senior high school and all of that. And the pressure and exams, the very thing you're talking about. He said he had actually contemplated suicide. And I had to tell him, look, it's not the way to go. You can go through this. We've all been through, you know,
some sort of pressure, and
creek without a paddle. But so it's nothing to trivialize. And you know, one very serious problem: educational institutions, most of them don't come with any sort of counseling, psychiatric setup. So if you're fortunate, you have a teacher or headmaster who realizes, this person and maybe calls you aside and helps you, or maybe even a friend. If you don't have that, the likelihood of getting depressed and maybe getting to the point, the tipping point of wanting to commit suicide is real.
And these kids are coming back for almost a year off school, being home from COVID, being completely isolated. They're dealing with stuff we have no idea about. And yet we sit on social media and we just talk ignorantly. My point is, just shut up about it.
You know, if you have nothing nice to say,
don't say anything at all.
Don't say anything.
Exactly.
You know what? Time flies.
When you're having fun, or when you're blasting people like we are this morning.
Our time is up, but we're going to do myjoyonline.com. Check out the latest stories on our platform, and we'll leave you with that. Anyway, would you like to do us the honors?
If I can see, okay. So Mahama, I saw the story, and Mahama withdraws acceptance as African Union envoy to Somalia. NMC commences investigation into alleged assault of City FM journalists. EC's proposal to close polls at 3 p.m. will disenfranchise voters. NDC reacts to reforms, all 46 colleges of education threatened to shut down by end of May over lack of funds. And Professor Jampo speaking, we mustn't continue to hype abuse of journalists while perpetuating media tyranny. Forgive me, I find that a bit amusing. Operations at CAF affected by laboratory scientists strike. That's according to management. And those are pretty much the top stories on myjoyonline.com. You can go there for more. Okay.
Alrighty, so you can check out more stories from myjoyonline.com. But you see this surprise package I have right here. She's going to tag along with me for the entirety of the show. Willy-nilly. You're going to be right here with yours truly. Anyway, sports is up next on the AM show. We'll be back after that. Do stay.
Good morning, welcome to AM Sports on AM Show. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif, says that he is committed to helping athletes who are representing the country in the Tokyo Olympic Games to ensure that they win medals for the country. We have an exclusive story to share with you about how the GFA president, Kate Okreku, is the next WAFU president. And we'll also share with you stories from the problems that are engulfing Ghana Premier League football. Refereeing is a major issue. What has caused it? The referees manager of the Ghana Football Association have got answers for that. But first, let's start with the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif, who says that government is committed to supporting athletes to do well in the upcoming Tokyo Olympic Games. Speaking at the Ghana Olympic Committee signing of a partnership with Tulium Ghana, Mr. Usif said it is the desire of the country to win medals, and his outfit will give athletes the needed support.
Our brothers and sisters who are going to lift our flag high in Tokyo, government will do everything possible to support them to be able to participate in the event successfully. And we know that with the kind of support that we are going to give them, and we know that with the kind of training that they've gone through, they will lift the flag of this country high. By bringing trophy home, the boxing team, I'm told, a very, very good boxing team. I've watched their clips, and I'm very, very confident that they are going to Tokyo to bring the trophy back home.
The president of the Ghana Football Association, Kate Okreku, has reiterated his commitment to building an enviable football institution in the country. According to him, the best football associations across the world are manned by the best brains, and he has begun work on enhancing the capacity of his staff.
Indeed, our football association is very much interested in capacity building. So, at the beginning of the season, the FA embarked on loads of capacity building exercises that ensured that our clubs were better informed, our officials were trained, so that our industry will be what we want it to be. Indeed, our FA ran football-related training sessions for football administrators across all the 10 regions. We also ran courses for our referees, and that also included some integrity training. And we intend to even do more in our attempt to even ensure that we have better coaching in the football ecosystem.
Still on Kate Okreku, you would recall that in 2019, he became the GFA president. In 2020, he filed to become an executive committee member of CAF. One interesting thing that happened was that he was going to contest the current WAFU president, that is Hamidou Jibrila. In their negotiations for Kate Okreku to step down, we were made to understand that Jibrila agreed to make him the WAFU president, and by the close of next week, Kate Okreku is going to be the president of West Africa Football Union Zone B. Now let's move on and do something that has to do with referees and their officiating in the Ghana Premier League. Manager of the referees of the Ghana FA, Alex Korte, he has blamed officiating in the Ghana Premier League and other competitions under the umbrella of the Football Association to the delay of the commencement of the second round of the Premier League season. He says the referees were trained to start officiating matches immediately after the program in Pram, but the rescheduling of the season is a factor in the poor refereeing.
It is practical work. How do you anticipate where the ball will go next? It is practical. How do you, so after reading and anticipating, how do you now begin to move? Do you have to move before the ball, or you know, all that? So we took them through a serious practical work, 3 days in Pram for each group, and they all attested to the fact that yes, they think that for this course it was better than all the courses that they have had. And so we pray that whatever they have learned in Pram, especially the referees, I mean the core work, you know, of what we did in Pram was on the referees. We just hoping and praying that they will apply them. I mean they would apply them. It is rather unfortunate that in fact we knew that the league was starting 2 weeks. You know, when it broke the first time, then it was postponed for another 2 weeks again, and so that actually took somebody would say the vim out of them, because we prepared in a way that right from Pram they were going into the game, okay, and so after Pram 2-3 weeks had elapsed, and we don't know what they are doing back home. You understand? But well,
Now let's do the FA Cup. The Ghana Football Association held the draw for the round of 62 of the competition. And you will have Kumasi Asante Kotoko come up against Bekwa Youth Academy. Now let's take a look at how the fixtures are. As you can see right behind me, you see Aboy Young Stars FC versus FC Samatex 1996. Secondly, Hazakas FC versus Kerala United. Secondly, 11Ys will also come up against Mediama SC. And if you move on, you realize that in the Bono Ahafo region, you have Kintampo Top Talents FC against Mighty Royals. Ediana Stars versus 11 Wonders. Kato Freedom Fighters versus Bechimi United, Kenya's New Dreams FC versus Sunyani Reformers, Young Apostles FC versus Techiman City versus Stroke. This match is yet to be decided, so when it is decided, then one of them will be playing against Young Apostles. Now, in Greater Accra, you have Great Olympics come up against Charity Stars, Tema Youth versus Inter Allies, that is a Tema Derby, Accra City Stars versus Third World FC, Accra House of Oak versus Liberty Professionals, Legon Cities versus Uncle T FC, Atram Devices Soccer Academy come against Mighty Jazz. And in the northern region, you have Kintampo FC versus Borga Soccer Masters, Real 24 Hours versus Steadfast, Faka Crocodiles FC versus Sombo Freedom Stars, Real Tamale United versus Tamale City. That is a Tamale derby over there. The earlier one you saw, you realize that it was something Dreams FC. It is an affiliate of the Dreams Football Club that plays in the Ghana Premier League.
Okay, so thank you for staying with us. It's a Relationship Friday, and we're about to get into it. Why am I so excited?
He wanted us to do something. Okay, let's try it.
Should we do it?
Yeah.
It's a
Relationship Friday!
You heard me. How did I end up with this one? Anyway, so like we said, it's a Relationship Friday.
Yep.
And we're asking the question, does it really matter what others think of your would-be partner? Does it matter what your parents think? Does it matter what your friends think? Does it matter what people on social media, think and will tell you? Just join us on social media. We should also activate the phone lines for you to call and share your thoughts on this all-important matter. Look, our stories, people I know, but you get to share them with us this morning. Of course, there are many sides to this conversation. We'd love to hear from you. At the right time, you can call that number 0302-211-961 extension 2. But that's much later. Right now, though, reach out to us on social media. Let's know what you're thinking. So let's kickstart the conversation. What do you think? So let's start with, I think we should break it down, right?
Okay.
Let's start with parents. When it comes to parents, and I mean,
but you've taken that thing very seriously.
Oh, it is a very serious matter.
Please, we are sorry.
It is a very serious order in this class.
Please continue.
So you meet this person, you feel there's that click, there's that compatibility. And then all of a sudden, your parents tell you, "Way, asemesi, lie, never da." It can be devastating because you think you finally met that person. And you know, it's pretty difficult, right? You're looking for that person that you're supposedly compatible with. Sometimes you can go through a lot of people you've dated and dated, but you are not finding that person. Then you meet that one person and they tell you, never that. It's not going to happen for X or Y reason.
Yeah.
In our setting, sometimes it's ethnocentric. Oh, we don't marry from this ethnic group or this tribe.
Yeah.
Oh, this person is from that part of the country. Stereotype. Oh, they are like this. Oh, are you sure? It will not work. Oh,
yeah.
All those things come into play. How do you react? What is your thinking on that when parents say no?
You know, there's a philosopher, this very wise man who lived and had gone through a lot of experiences, you know, and had struggled and had
what?
Had really just, you know, explored the different aspects of life and art and philosophy and science. And, you know, he came up with, you know, this piece of work, and I'll summarize it in 2 words. Yentiobia, Yentiobia.
Oh, really? Na-na-na-na.
Thank you.
Ba-ba-na-na-na. Yentiobia.
Thank you.
Oh, so that's going to be your...
I think generally
I know someone that didn't work too well for the person.
I mean, generally, I don't know if I'm the right person to have this conversation with. And the reason I say that is because I'm very independent. I'm allowed to be because, I mean, one, I'm not young.
So when you were young, okay, so
I was still like that. That's the problem.
Let me put you into. I'm flinging a hot potato at you. How early did you start dating?
I think I got into my first relationship, my first real relationship in uni. I think so. I went to uni early anyway. So maybe I was about 18 thereabout.
You're an early bird.
Didn't last too long, but I also got married at 23.
Okay.
So, you know, but as for the Yentiobia philosophy, there's kind of always been my thing.
Okay.
I've always believed in making my own mistakes. And so the consequence of being the kind of person who believes in making my own mistakes is that when they hit me in my face, I don't have anybody to blame for them.
So, okay, so that's a very good point you make, because then you have to live with
I live with my
choices.
mistakes, but then it actually, in my life, it has made it easier for me to live with my mistakes because I made them. They were my mistakes because they were decisions I made. I take advice and I listen to what people tell me, and I blame my father for this mentality.
Why?
Because he taught me to think independently of people's views. I think it's Socrates who said that it is a well-educated mind that can entertain a thought without accepting it. So you accept people's views and you play it up within yourself and weigh it within your spirit, and you find what sits right with you. You know, and the thing about parents is Khalil Gibran says that parents are like, you know, bows and children are the arrows. And the bow is shooting the arrow into a space that the bow can never go to. And so you're shooting your children into spaces that you do not understand. So we do not always understand where our children are going to.
Right.
So we can advise them.
Right.
And I know you can counter that with, you know, there's a saying that, you know, adults see into the things that children don't see.
Adults sitting down can see things that a child standing up will still
and
not
then
see.
I will counter that with the fact that Samson's parents prayed, you know, to God and said that, show us who our son is so we know how to raise them. Except that a lot of parents are not praying when, you know, your son brings a woman home or your daughter brings a woman home, a boy home. They don't pray and say, God, is this woman right for my son? They slip into the flesh and they say, oh, she's ewe. Oh, she's old. Oh, she's young. Oh, she's too fat. Oh, she's too slim. And they base their judgments based on
you've raised a
things.
very important point. But before I get to the serious stuff, on a lighter note, did you go and read all these quotes before? Khalil Gibran, Socrates?
No, I'm just like that. Like that's how we roll, man. That's how we roll.
Okay.
Don't let me start rapping.
So when we're down and we go down.
Like I have some Jay-Z, like, you know, sitting.
Spit. Go ahead and spit.
Yeah, like.
Go ahead and spit.
And by force. Sorry,
you know if spit, they do
spit and by force.
Okay.
Please call us. Call us.
You know what? Reach out and let's hear from you. What do you think? How much prominence should you give to a parent's opinion?
Are we just doing parents?
No, not just parents. I mean, broadening it, but breaking it down. There's the parent factor, there is the sibling factor, there is the friend factor. You know, sometimes even your environment, even your work environment and all of that. You can be thinking of tying the knot with someone or dating someone, but you're looking at your environment and the sort of people even your colleagues are in relationships with, and you're thinking, we are better you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When genuinely you feel that is the person for you. On social media, look, I've seen people put it up on social media, should I date this person, should I not date that person? And people have come both ways. Are you going to rely on something like that? Yeah. Do share with us, 0302 211 961 extension 2. 0302 211 961 extension 2. You were going to make a point.
I was just going to say, if anybody ever posted me on social media with a caption, should I date her or should I marry her?
You will not.
I will break up with you and I will never speak to you again. Because your relationship with me or your love for me cannot be based on people who do not know me.
Right.
So what exactly are you asking for them to judge me on?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that really bugs me about conversations like this, is how people who do not know people have opinions on them. So there are many times that a lot of my friends have come to me and said, oh, Nims, you know, I'm dating this guy, you know, what do you think? My go-to is always, I do not know him. I know what he looks like. I may have said hello to him in church. I've never had a sit down with him. I've never had dinner with him. I haven't gone hiking with him or swimming with him. I don't know what he's like under pressure. I don't know how he supports you. I don't know how he communicates. I don't know how he loves you. I don't know how he prays for you. I don't know any of that. Yeah. So how do I know if he's good for you? So it's two things.
Plus people have different love languages.
Exactly.
So you can't even speak for the person.
If you want my opinion, it's either you're going to get us to spend a lot of time together so that I can look at it and say, okay, maybe, you know,
even then, how long and how much can you absorb?
Or you're going to say, yo, you know, Nims, do you want to just pray with me or support me in prayer? You know, because ultimately, the Bible says that, you know no man after the flesh. The only way you can really know someone is by praying about it, praying for them, so that you know them after the Spirit. That's the only way. Like, there's no other way.
And that was the exact point I wanted to get to, because a lot of the time nowadays, it's not about, oh, you want to settle down with that person. How about, let's pray about it.
Yeah.
It's not so much, let's pray about it. It often is, you know, no, that ethnic group, young worry in free hole, and this one they can't break. Where do we pay no? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, like I'm putting it out there because that is what people, you know, say.
That's what people do, yeah.
Religion also becomes a barrier sometimes, and parents will tell you in the face, you simply can't cross the line. I remember back in uni, undergrad, right? There were these two people, Muslim, Christian, and they were so into each other. They really wanted to settle down. Lie. I don't know how it ended up for them, but it was clear that it's either the other person had to tuba or the other person had to convert to Christianity, and it became a whole mess. They were stressed and all of that. And you ask yourself, well, of course, there's also that bit in the Bible, 2 Corinthians, I think, do not be unequally yoked. You get it. So there are religious partitionings, if you like, when it comes to that. And so if siblings were to come to you and say, we are Christian, what are you talking about? You're going to marry a Muslim. I'm not trying to segregate here. Or we are Muslim. What are you talking about trying to? All of that comes in and it becomes very problematic. But what? To situate the conversation properly, we have joining us Bishop Fred Kranchi Mensah, a pastor, counselor, psychologist, lead pastor, Transformation Assembly. He joins the conversation.
Oh, hello, Bishop. He's my friend. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, yes.
He's my friend too. He's my friend too.
He's not a friend.
Bishop, aren't you my friend?
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Okay, so Bishop, right before you come in, we have Benjamin on phone from Kumasi. My namesake, good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation. Hello, Ben. Do we have Ben from Kumasi? Okay. So we'll come back to Bishop, and Ben, do try to get in touch. We shall patch you through when you do. Bishop, so thank you very much for joining the conversation. And I know you're my friend. We can pardon what Enimwa has been putting out there, all the false propaganda. But Bishop, please unmute. Now, this discussion we're having, whether we should be bothered about what other people think, and other people here can be people from my immediate family circle, friends, people from even school or colleagues at work. How much should that matter? That is the question. But Bishop, so do hold. I'm sorry I have to do this. We do have Benjamin back from Kumasi. Ben, good morning.
That's fine.
Hello, Ben. Good morning. Can you hear me, Ben? Okay, Ben. I say checha phone and pesa okasa. This one, I don't know. Yanum are doing their things. Yep. So, Bishop, this time I'm not going to move away from you. What do you think? Should we pay that much attention to all of these other people, or just focus on what we feel we want, you and that special person?
Right. Good morning to your viewers, and thank you for getting me into this very important conversation. First of all, we need to understand that marriage is very individualistic and marriage is very personal. If you read the Bible, you will understand that the greatest power God gave to man is the power to choose. So God creates Adam and Eve, and he puts a tree in the middle of the garden, and he says, don't touch it. In other words, you have the power to choose because you are responsible for your choices. There's a place in the Bible where God is saying to the nation of Israel, I have set before you life and prosperity, death and destruction, but I counsel you to choose life. Why will God not force things on us but give us the power to choose? Because we are moral beings with the capacity to make right decisions and as well make bad decisions. So God gives you the power to choose, but you have to also understand that choices have consequences and choices also have generational implications. Now, it is you who is going into the marriage and no other person. It is you. You are going to be in that relationship or marriage with that special one and no other person. Notwithstanding, we should also understand that we live in a society. We don't live in isolation. We live with people. You have a pastor, you have imam, you have spiritual leaders, you have family leaders, you have people in your life, you have friends, you even have enemies who sometimes contribute, because scripture says in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. This issue is very dicey. So we need to talk about the measure of influence that people's opinion should have in the choice. Understand one, people's opinions mostly are not facts. An opinion is simply a view or a judgment formed about something. And this is not necessarily a fact. It may not be a fact. It comes from people's life experiences. People have a worldview about a certain situation because of their life experiences, number one, because of their mental or psychological disposition. In other words, because of the way they think. Number three, because of their special life inclinations, or in other words, what they like or what they do not like. So looking at this, all these factors influence people's opinions. So it should not necessarily influence your choices, your decisions, and your actions. But there are times that people will help you with information. You see, I first of all started by talking about choices, the power to choose. So people will give you information. One thing you need when it comes to making choices is knowledge or information. It may come from people. So you will have to also at a certain point consider what people are thinking and what people are saying, because it may help you to make an informed decision or wise choices. So what you have to do is subject the opinions of people to your own thinking. Just subject it, think about it, process it very well, and at the end of the day, make your own decision. So yes, they may contribute, but the onus is on you. You will have to finally think about what is in front of you, including what other people are trying to put across, and then you make an informed decision based on the knowledge and information you have been presented with.
Okay, so you've broadened it, but you've still made it a bit tight. So someone will say, for example, what do you discard and what do you keep? I'm thinking, and we were just sharing on the show a short while ago, that parents, for example, often would be able to share, based on experience, things that you who are, well, you are a graduate and all of that, you may still not have a proper appreciation of. But at the same time, there are a lot of people who will be guiding you on ethnocentric grounds, religious grounds, and I was just talking about 2 Corinthians. You shouldn't be unequally yoked to people, outside of a certain bracket. All of that is in there. What do you stick to and what do you discard of? If it's purely religious, if it's purely ethnocentric, if it's purely, do you discard of that simply because those are not founded on what emotions you feel with the person? How do you assess these?
You see, emotions are very important when you talk about love relationships, but emotions are not enough to lead you into decisions. That's why I first of all said you need knowledge, you need information in order to make informed decisions and wise choices and take actions that will help your future. But looking at things like ethnocentrism, okay, he's a Fante, he's a Sante, he's Ever, you can't marry because of this, that. They are contributing based on their personal experiences, because come to think of it, opinions are people's subjective personal thoughts. This is what I think. So you will have to, at the end of the day, sieve it. If you are a religious person, you use scripture as your standard. You talked about Corinthians. If you're a Christian and the person is not a Christian, I think that scripture should guide you, because it is stated clearly that do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So that should guide you. But at the end of the day, it is your choice. So even if people have contributed, like authorities in your life, your pastor, your parents, your elder siblings, you should, at the end of the day, subject their opinions to scrutiny. Think about it. Use scripture to measure it, and then analyze it. Is this person talking out of jealousy? Because when I was getting married, there were a lot of people talking to my wife. Some of them were talking to her out of jealousy. If you are an elder sibling, chances may be that you may not even know, it may be in your subconscious and even in your unconscious mind. You are getting jealous because your little sister or little brother is going into marriage. You are not married yet. So that could influence your opinion. There are a whole lot of factors. So at the end of the day, I will have to, excuse me, sieve every opinion that is on my table, subject it to scrutiny, and then make sure that this is not out of jealousy, this is not outdated, this is going to help me, because the onus is on you. Not even God forces us to take his counsel. At the end of the day, we are free moral agents. We have the capacity to choose. We have the liberty to choose what is right for us. So you're subjected to scrutiny through the lens of scriptures, and then you make your decision.
Right. So I'm just thinking, Bishop, that when you face, this kind of resistance, especially from family, can be very difficult. Especially when they're coming from a certain place of unreasonableness, because, if it's ethnocentric, or whether it has to do with age or, culture, or those kinds of differences. When you put your foot down and you say, I'm not going to listen, especially if it has to do with maybe your parents or your family members, you're tagged as rebellious, and you hear things like, then I won't, come to the wedding, I won't be part of the marriage, I won't, it's not going to work, how are you defying your parents, that kind of thing. How do you deal with all those things, especially when, the basis for why these people in your life who you love and respect are against this relationship are not because, there's some character flaws in this person, but like you said, it's because of their own, subjective views or their life experiences, which may not, particularly be reasons that are viable in this particular, relationship.
All right. You see, sorry. Our African context also makes it a bit complicated, because as Africans, we have a culture of respect. We have a culture of the extended family system. Yeah. We have a culture of honor. So then you are put in the middle of a very difficult situation. Jesus, in the book of Matthew, gives us a certain procedure in resolving conflict. So he says, number one, you will have to reason with the person. If that does not work, you include a third person, you include a negotiator, somebody that you will all respect and listen to. Go through that process. Start by yourself, trying to reason with them. Also understand them, because you see, especially when it comes to parents, they are talking mostly not out of jealousy. They are talking out of their personal experience, number one, and out of love for their baby or their boy. They don't want you to get into any difficult situation. So the motive is right. So you have to deal with it with a lot of respect and gentleness. You try to reason with them. If that does not work, bring in your pastor, bring in somebody your parents will listen to. If that does not work, Jesus says, then treat the person as an infidel. And what it means is that go ahead with your decision, but in love and in respect. Wow. Don't just walk on everybody with arrogance and go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it, but do it out of respect, because at the end of the day, God forbid, if you have issues in your marriage, it will affect family as well, but you are the center of it, and you are going to suffer the consequences. It's your choice. It's your decision. So you should be able to take the bull by the horn and take that all-important decisions when you are sure and 100, maybe 99.99% sure that I am convinced this is right for me. Go ahead and take your decision and get ready to bear the consequences, whether they are positive or in the unlikely event of negative consequences coming up.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that the conclusion to the whole conflict resolution process was that Jesus then said, treat that person like an infidel and go ahead and do, what you think is right. Jesus Christ, the rebel, we love him even more for that this morning. I am God's child. I've always wondered where I got that rebellious streak from, but this morning I know. So thank you so much for that, Bishop. But, just before I hand you over back to Benjamin, we've talked about, whether other opinions matter. And in the process of that, we've talked about what, we shouldn't focus too much on when it comes to our would-be partner. So maybe we can digress slightly, because I'm sure there are people listening to us and they're wondering, as we're talking about the things that we shouldn't focus on, what are the things we should focus on? As we navigate, these arguments, because you may find yourself having to defend your partner as you get closer to commitment. You're having to explain to people, why this person. What are the things? Maybe you could bring them to maybe about 5 things that kind of solidify for you, what a life partner should look like.
Okay. First of all, let me add this because we may not come back to it. There is something I have realized in my research and in my study, that when it comes to making decisions, there is a part of your brain called your subconscious. Your subconscious brain always has the answer. Those who are religious, we call it the human spirit. The human spirit always has the answer. You will have to develop yourself to the extent of going into yourself, all right? Going into yourself to look for the answer. Sometimes your subconscious mind will speak to you through dreams, through your intuition and all that. So let me also highlight on that. At the end of the day, if you are sensitive or spiritual enough, the answer will be in your heart. The answer will be in your subconscious mind. So one way or the other, you will know what to do and the decisions to make and the choices to make so you can enjoy your life. Back to your question. Things to look out for in a partner. First of all, I think you should focus on the person's spirituality. I'm a bishop, so obviously that is where I will go to begin with. Is this person a believer? Is this person a Christian? Is this person going to help your faith? Because like I said from the beginning, Scripture states categorically that do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. So that's the first thing to look out for. Number 2, I will say, is the person matured? When I talk about maturity, I'm not talking about years. I'm talking about mental maturity. I'm talking about emotional maturity, because especially if you're a woman, this person should be able to handle himself and then come back to help you to deal with your emotions. So you look for maturity, psychological maturity, emotional maturity. Number 3, you look for signs of employment. Is this person employed? Does this person have something to do? God created the institution of marriage, but before he brought Eve on the scene, he created work. He created a garden and planted Adam in the garden, and he told him to till the land, to cultivate the land and keep it. So before Eve came on the scene, Adam had work. Don't just go into a relationship blindly with the BDB mentality or God will do it mentality. Look for these signs. Is this person gainfully employed, or will he be gainfully employed? Is he a potential worker? Is he training himself? Is he educating himself or herself to get a trade or a profession? Look out for these things. And then number 3, this is very funny. When I was getting married, one of the things I looked out for in my wife's family, I studied the mother, because to a very large extent, your spouse's parents will influence the kind of behavior your spouse will put up once you are married. In the process of courtship, you never get to know everything. But if you study her family or his family setting, look at the kind of marriage the parents have had, look at the kind of home they are coming from. It is very, very important. One of the things I used to say to my wife's mother is a bit big, so I say, this is going to be your future, but I'm comfortable with it, So that could inform you about how things are going to be in the future to some extent. So look for that one as well.
Okay, Benjamin.
Well, I think Bishop has summed it up beautifully. But, you know, one thing I'm going to take away is simply this. The choices we make, we have to live with them.
Yeah.
The choices we make, we have to, you know, live with them. Because if you actually go with the parents, you know that, look, this is their choice and it might not necessarily work for you. If you also decide, sometimes the parents will let you know that, okay, you are deciding, we'll support you. But if you go and it doesn't work, I say, well, who say, I decided I wanted to do this. But I think accepting responsibility, knowing, one thing you said, knowing what you want, going with it and accepting responsibility. I think ultimately that is what counts. And then all the others from parents and friends and all that, it will just be back up. Bishop is giving me a thumbs up. Did he give you a thumbs up? Anyway, thank you very much, Bishop Fred Kranche, our friend Bishop.
Okay,
because you said it very well.
Anyway, we're very grateful for your time,
Thank you
Bishop.
so much,
Thank you for joining
Bishop.
the conversation.
Thank you.
Right then. You have a wonderful weekend. God bless and keep you.
Great.
Thank you. Amen. We will.
So the conversation continues. I mean, on social media, you can still share your thoughts with us. But when we return after the break, the big one, Kese Brimpong
joins us.
He joins us.
Can't
In fact,
wait.
I can't wait either.
Yes.
That's up next on the AM show. We'll be right back. Well, thank you for staying with us on the AM show. We greatly appreciate your time with us. But as we get ready to wrap on the show, we have something very important to discuss with you. And to meet current standards and continually offer quality and efficient care to patients, it has become very necessary to increase the bed capacity of a hospital we're going to be talking about, especially at the above mentioned wards. Now, the current male and female wards were classrooms that were converted into wards about 60 years ago to offer inpatient care. With the steady growth of the population at the Kwewu West municipality and with the hospital serving as a referral center, patient inflow has invariably increased, thereby stretching the capacity of the facility. I'm talking about the Holy Family Hospital. And that's why this morning we're having this conversation, because we need your help. We need your aid. The people there need you. Joining us for the discussion, Reverend Father Derek Mauli, Administrator with the Holy Family Hospital, and Dr. Isaac Entry, Medical Director, Holy Family Hospital. They both join us for the conversation. Rev?
Yes, my
Doc,
brother.
thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much.
So I've been reading about the Holy Family Hospital, and you've been around for a very long time. So just give us a brief bit of history about what this hospital has contributed to not just the Nkoko area, but beyond.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. We thank the management for this opportunity. The hospital was established in 1949, so we are 72 years old. Wow. And it was began by the Holy Spirit Sisters, the SSPS sisters, we call them. They started it, and they worked so hard. It will amaze you that they even used their salaries to start the whole thing. And then later on, the diocese also came in to help it. I mean, the Kofodia Catholic Diocese. It serves the Nkoko, Kwewu West municipality, which means that it serves also as a referral center, helping all the surrounding facilities so that healthcare can be delivered to the people in the municipality.
Okay.
Yes.
So I know about Catholic hospitals, I mean, from Bator, from other places across the country, and what you do. You're helping the system so that, healthcare is well catered for within the community. But Doc, tell me, the male and female wards, and that is why, because the structure in question, you need more capacity. The male and female wards, how long has it been since we even had any construction work or any add-ons when it comes to, bed capacity and all of that? Tell us.
Thank you very much. So the male and female wards, as Administrator rightly said, was a classroom block which was converted to a ward. just to serve as the male medical and surgical wards. So we admit patients from the emergency room and the OPD to the male medical and surgical wards. And the capacity is not that much. We want to increase the capacity. I mean, you and I, we are all aware of the no birth syndrome that is all over the place. There are a lot of factors that contribute to no birth syndrome, but one of it is what capacity of the place. Sometimes patients are delayed on duty at the emergency because they have been admitted but cannot get beds on the ward because the capacity is very low. So this one is a story building, a proposed story building with modern facilities. And then these days people usually want to get their privacy, you know, not the traditional long dormitory kind of ward. These ones are
more
private
secluded,
rooms.
cubicle or room by room.
Yes, private rooms, some one per person, two per person, at least to create some privacy.
Right.
So, and it also increase the capacity of the hospital because we are talking about each block giving us over 100 bed capacity. So the 2 blocks, male and female, is going to add over 200 bed capacity to the already existing capacity of the hospital.
Okay, so let's talk numbers. Obviously, the numbers are burgeoning, and that is why this has come to the fore. On a regular day, Father, how many people come through this facility, which has brought about this need for us to increase the hospital's capacity?
Because it's a referral center, the daily attendance rate is a little bit high, like 290 a day.
290 a day?
So in a month, you are counting almost 8,900, right?
Wow.
And with our admission rate, we have 21 in a day. And in total in a month, you have around 630 averagely. So people are coming in, so we don't want to get to the point where doctor said we have to let people sleep on the floor. And that will not help. That is why we are trying to reconstruct the male and female ward to be properly admit people. It's not only to admit, but also to have proper service when in terms of giving ambulatory services. You have a good access route.
Right.
If anything happens, the fire service can be called in to come and help. But currently, as it is now, if there is fire, it's going to be, you know how Ghana, we've built our buildings. So now we want to make it proper. So that's where we're going.
And I hear, you know, that it is this bad that sometimes people come in and they have to be in the emergency area for quite a while, days even, before they are moved to the male and female wards because there's no space available.
Yes, because of the referral rate, people are coming in, they are referring cases because we have the specialists. So when there are cases at the peripheries and it's beyond their capacity, they need to refer them to us. So we will also have to be able to be in a good position to accommodate them.
So break this down for me. It's a Catholic hospital.
Yes, it is.
Do you get any support from the Ghana Health Service system, government, all of that? Do you get any support?
Yes, all faith-based facilities or hospitals are under one umbrella called the CHAG.
Okay.
Right, so CHAG is our parent body that helps us. So everything that we do, we are under CHAG, but CHAG is also an agency on its own, just like Ghana Health Service. Okay, so under CHAG, we are also under the National Catholic Health Service. Okay. Yes, we get help from the government in terms of payment of salaries, because all the stuff there, the government pays, they're the salaries for us. In terms of provision of some medications, donations that come in. But in terms of capital projects like this, we have to start, and if the government would like to help, that would be great. But normally it's a little bit, you know what I mean? It doesn't come really.
It doesn't readily come. So in terms of infrastructure and the rest, in terms of building capacity that is up to you
we have to do it.
Great. So Doc, I'll come to you now. You want to build your capacity. You want to aid many more people in the community and beyond. And you have 2 projects that you are working on, 2 ward blocks that you want to put up. Tell us a bit about this drive and what has been achieved so far, what is left to be done.
Yes, thank you very much. So the male and female ward is for the surgical and medical units. If you look at the Kwahu enclave, I mean, when I talk about Kwahu enclave, from the Abetifi constituency through Imperial constituency the Nkoko constituency, that's the Kwahu West municipality, and even to some parts of Ashanti region, and even some part of Etiwa, some part of Brim North. They all refer to Holy Family because we have the capacity in terms of human resource.
That must be some pressure.
We have a lot of specialists. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist. I have another colleague who is also an obstetrician gynecologist. We have 2 surgeons, general surgeons, internal medicine specialists, and then 2 pediatricians. So they refer cases, even though there are other district hospitals around, they refer cases to us because we have the human resource. So we want to increase our capacity. And the population is also growing. I mean, currently the Nkoko, that is a Kwahu West municipality, we have about 120,000 from the about 120,000 from the last population census. So the project is for the whole, I would even say for the whole country, because Nkoko is strategically positioned. Yeah. You know, we are between the 2 big cities. I mean, talk about Accra and then Kumasi. It's in the middle. Accidents are coming in. Yeah. The last time, my own club, Kumasi Ashanti Kotoko, was involved in an accident. Yeah. That is where they were.
That is where they came.
A lot of accidents
so
on our roads.
Tell us about those 2 facilities you want to put up, and basically how much it's going to cost us. What really we need, because we need help, we need people. Yes. And you can see some footage there from the hospital. Let me come to you, Padre. Yes. So you need to put up these 2 facilities.
Yes.
What are the timelines? How much is involved? What sort of help do you need?
Okay, I will start and then he will also continue. Yes. There are 2 blocks, but they are joined together. Okay, so currently what we are requesting the general public and well wishers to do is to help us raise funds, equipment, and furnish the whole building. The first part, we are going to do it in 2 phases. There are 2 blocks in 2 phases. So the first one will cost 2.9 million.
Okay.
Without equipment. It's only the building itself. Okay. It's 2.9 million. So if you put the 2 buildings together, you're hitting 5.8. So that is the cost component of it.
Okay, and how can, so we're looking at some 5.8 million Ghana cedis. That is what you need to just put up these 2 structures, of course. Yes. From there, there would likely be assistance in terms of equipment, and even, like you said, government just might assist with paying staff who are sent there. But how can people make contributions? How can people make contributions?
Contributions can be made through our Momo number, which I think
okay, so on this I have it right here. I will be putting it up as well. So if you want to contribute via Momo, there is a merchant number.
Yes. Merchant number, yes.
899454. That's the merchant number. Yes. 899454. I'll repeat. 899454. If you want to use the MTN Momo number, that is not a merchant number, the normal number, 0559 239 060. That is 0559 239 060. And the reference is male and female wards. Yes. That's how you reference it. Male and female wards. When you send to 0559 239 060. Or you can also go to Absa Bank.
Absa Bank, yes.
The account name is Holy Family Hospital in Nkoko. Holy Family Hospital in Nkoko. And the account number 048 213 6818. 048 213 6818. The branch is Accra High Street. So, Padre and Doc, before we wrap up, let me just tell you quite a bit about H2 Solutions, which is an elite comprehensive IT solutions company in West Africa that provides service-led solutions to corporations both locally and regionally by bridging legacy offerings and emerging services focused on new technology, new delivery models, and new architecture to mid-sized and enterprise businesses. As PMI authorized training partners, we are organizing a project management certificate course for the general public. The key dates, 24th May to 4th June, 24th May to 4th June, 2021. Courses are online. It's 3 hours per day, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. It used to be $800. It now is going for a cool $400. Key benefits: you get to earn a 35 PDU or contact hour certificate. You complete your PMP, that is your Project Management Professional Certificate training. You get class materials and tools to equip you as a PM Experience Instructor. For registration and inquiries, contact info@h2, and the website www.h2safrica.com. You can call this number, 0556 757 549. 0556 757 549. Padre, thank you so much for coming. Yes. Doc, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And we shall, in our own little ways,
if we don't say hello to our staff, they will chew us when we go back.
Okay, so you have 10 seconds
Just
to do
10 seconds. To our staff, we love you so much. Actually, they are even contributing. They've started contributing towards the project. So we thank them for their dedicated service. They always perform magic every day, achieving good results with the little resources that we have. We love them so much.
Thank you so much for coming, and God richly bless all your efforts. Well, that's how we wrap it up this morning on the AM show. We're grateful for your time. Let's catch up on Monday. Lovely day.